Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to our channel. Hey, today's all about that 105th anniversary bike I showed you on my shorts about the bike that was parked for 3 years. And we're going to go through and we're going to change all the fluids, and we're going to change out the brake fluid as well. We're going to go through and inspect the bike. We're going to get the bike detailed because there's some mold. There's some really nasty stuff all over this bike, and I'll show you, just so you get a look at what's going on. All right, here's some of that mold I was telling you about. This was all behind the saddlebag. Got a lot of cobwebs on it, but we're going to detail this bike up too. And part of getting this bike back running is we're going to get all the fuel out of the fuel tank. We're going to change out all the motor oil, the transmission, the primary. We're going to flush out the brakes, front and rear. We're going to adjust his clutch. And we're basically going to give this thing a full service. I know, I'm in the camera. I'm going to give this thing a full service on what's getting this bike back together and running for him. All right, so list of tools we're going to need. We're going to need a T27 socket on the impact driver. We're going to need some rags. We're going to need a 5/8 socket and ratchet for drain plugs. I'm going to show you where those drain plugs are right now. So here's the one for your primary. Now for your transmission, it's up inside. I don't know if you can see it where my finger is. That's for your transmission, and that's a 5/8 socket. And then for the motor oil, it's on this side. We have an oil tank, right? Or an oil bag. That is right here. Right where my finger is. It's right in front of the swing arm, and it's in the frame. So it's really easy to drain that motor oil. And of course, we're going to put a nice new oil filter on it and some new spark plugs. And we have all that. And just so you know, spark plugs do get torqued 40 inch-pounds. Whoop, that's the airline. I just kicked it. All right, so we're going to get right into this. All right, I got all the tools needed to do this. So first thing to do is I'm going to put a rag down right where I'm going to be working. And the air conditioning is moving it on me. But we also need a drain pan. And let me get that because sometimes whoever serviced it last over-serviced it, or I have seen it where the transmission fluid would migrate from the transmission to the primary. That's usually from the M8s, but also I've seen it where the main seal on the case and the primary failed, and with that being failed, caused a lot of fluid to go into the primary. So you want to get a drain pan to help protect your workspace so you don't get full of oil. So, and the reason why I put the rag down is when I take the derby cover off, it will sit, face down on the rag. And what that does, it protects it from being scratched. All right. So there's that. Now we're going to get our drain plug, where I already showed you where that is. And we're going to change those O-rings on the drain plug as well. You never want to reuse O-rings or gaskets. Well, so I grabbed the right socket. I grabbed a 9/16 instead of a 5/8. It happens. All right, right socket this time. So this will be a multiple part video. And something's going on here with this drain plug. Looks like whoever did it last, which is kind of hard to track down now who did it, they rounded some of the edges and the socket doesn't fit on there anymore. So we'll have to use an open end wrench. No big deal. You know what? I always say the mechanic always wins. And there you go. There's the drain plug. Now what we're going to do is we're going to look at the magnet for our drain plug. I did not wipe it off yet, but you can see there's a little bit of fuzz on there. That's normal. What you're looking for, if there's big chunks there, that would be abnormal. And I was right looking at this. Somebody really beat up this drain plug. But no big deal. You know, we'll get that taken care of. And now, while this is draining, I'm going to go around the other side and drain that motor oil. So I'll bring it over with me. Whoop, I just kicked it. Back in focus for you. Now that we're here, right there, for our drain plug for the motor, we're going to put the socket on it. It's a 5/8 socket. That's real tight. Way too tight, over tightened. But we'll get it. And we will definitely get this bike back up and running. This is part one of a two-part video series. Alright, there you can take a look. There's no metal chunks or filings on that drain plug, which is a good thing. And I also got him a brand new battery because his battery was so shot. It had 0.4 volts. That's right, 0.4 volts at the battery. All right, I'm not going to bore you here with the draining of this, so when I'm ready to put these back in, we'll record, and within seconds you'll see it, but it'll be a few moments. All right, so we're going to change these O-rings on these drain plugs, which I highly recommend you do. Some places when you buy your oil change kits, like your oil filters and your oil, they'll give you these for free. If not, they're like $1 a piece, and it's smart of you to replace them. You don't want a chance of anything leaking. All right, there's the motor. That's the primary. I'm ready to put the primary back together, so we'll go around the other side and we'll do that together. Okay, Harley sells this neat little piece that goes in the primary. It helps you fill the oil a lot better. Now I'm going to give you a secret of getting to that transmission drain plug. And it's really kind of tricky, and it's a pain in the neck to get up there in between both shocks. And the way to do that is with a long Allen, it's a 1/4 inch Allen that I have here on a socket. Or you could just use a regular Allen socket and an extension. It doesn't really matter. Either way, it will work. So now we're going to put our drain plug back in with the wrench, because I can't fix or make this drain plug back normal without destroying the size of it. And I'd rather have it stay 5/8 with a little edge on it than not. All right, so now that we got our drain plug in, and they don't have to be gorilla tight, just feel it, that you can feel the resistance of the O-ring, and just get it snug. And of course, we're going to be using Amsoil primary fluid. Again, this video is not sponsored by Amsoil, but it's what I carry, it's what I like to use. And you guys saw me do the video on the clutch adjustment on that 2020 Lowrider S that I have. So I'm not going to show you the clutch adjustment here, because it's the same thing other than the cable adjustment, because it's got a jam nut and then a threaded nut that extends to pick up the slack in the cable. Trying not to make these videos too long and too boring for everybody. I hope you don't find these boring, but hey, that reminds me. Hey guys, do you like these videos? If you do, leave me some comments down below. If not, tell me what kind of videos you like to see. Would you like to see more bike night videos, some more moto vlogging videos, which I got to get back to doing some moto vlogging again. You know, do you want to see more rallies? Which brings me up to a point that, you know, a couple weeks, I'm going to be headed down to Ocean City, Maryland for the bike week down there. So, you know, look for that video when we get back. I'm probably going to do a couple lives and a couple shorts, you know, just to bring everybody up to speed of what's going on and where we are. So, you know, keep an eye out for those videos in the future within the next, you know, 3 to 4 weeks. But, you know, this video, now we're going to go and install the drain plug for the motor, and then we're going to drain the transmission. All right, I'm working on draining the transmission. That socket trick did not work. I want to let you know. Because, again, this thing was gorilla tight. So, it's a whole lot of fun getting to these. These are not my favorite transmissions to service because of where the drain is. The older 5-speeds, those were horrible too, because the drain was literally on the side, and sometimes you had to remove the exhaust just to get to the drain, and that was no fun. All right, so now, as you can see, with all the fluid, I got it out. So we're going to wipe it all off. And before we wipe off the drain plug, we're going to look at the magnet, make sure that's in good shape, and it is. And remember, that's just gear oil for the transmission and your primary. But Amsoil sells a fluid just for the transmission and just for the primary, and that's what I use. Oh, guys, have any questions about this, let me know. I know it's not a lot of fun, but, you know, I think it is. Working on bikes, having a good time. And, just let that drain out. It's only supposed to be a quart in the transmission. It's a quart in your primary. And when I get done with the motor, it's going to be 3 quarts. And then we'll check it and then, you know, adjust our fluid as necessary. All right. All right, I got the clutch adjusted. Now I'm going to put this drain plug back, and it's just dripping right now. So put a rag down, and I'm going to use that long Allen socket. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fish it up in between the 2 shocks. Now this is where you got to be careful. I've seen a lot of people cross-thread their drain plugs because they didn't get it on straight and they argued with it. And so I'm saying don't argue with it. Take your time, get it lined up properly, and you'll be fine. So I got it lined up. I got it started by hand. Again, remember everybody, start everything by hand when you can. Always, 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 always start everything by hand. All right, so we got it up in there. And it's snug, so I'm going to put the socket back on it to get its final tightness. And remember, once you feel the O-ring make contact, it's not much tighter after that. And you know, I just got to find it once again because you can't see it. It's completely blind. And I didn't put the motor drain plug back in it because I didn't get a lot of motor oil out of the engine. So I'm a little concerned that a lot of the motor oil over the 3 years has migrated its way down into the engine. So I do have a brand new battery for this that I will be putting in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to crank the engine over with the drain plug out. Okay, perfect. so I could get the oil that's trapped in the engine out, because I do not want to mix old oil with new oil. And I'm sure everybody would agree with that. All right, so when we get this camera on the other side, we'll do it together. All right, guys. I do have a brand new battery that I did pick up from Harley. I found they had the best price out there for the battery. And always make sure you get the right size battery for your bike. Now, and reason being is I'll link the photo or the video above, right over my head or right over my hand here, that where the guy put the wrong size battery in and he had all sorts of charging issues and actually blew his stator. Or not his stator, his voltage regulator. So you want to make sure you always use the right size battery. Now we do have a battery tender lead. We're going to put that in. Now remember, all of your battery bolts are 10 millimeter. So we're going to make sure we put our battery tender lead on, the positive lead to the bike. Now I have no proof that the oil migrated to the motor, but the only thing I have that will substantiate that claim would be the fact that not a lot of oil came out of the oil tank or oil bag, depending on which language you speak. So now we're going to do the other one. And, you know, there's a better way of doing this than putting these leads right to the battery. But just for now, I'm doing that. I'm going to be moving the ground lead to a chassis ground, and the positive lead, I'll probably connect it down at the starter where the positive battery cable goes in, just to make it that much neater. All right, so we're going to turn this baby on. No, not yet. I got to unlock it, so hold on. All right, everybody. Hey, we got some big problems here with this bike. Right now I got no power. I got power coming out of the battery into the main fuse, out of the main fuse. But when I turn the switch, I get no lights, no nothing, not even the fuel pump. All the fuses are good. So now I have to do an inspection of the wiring harness. Really not looking forward to this, but we're going to see what we can find. I'm really not looking forward to digging in this deep, but I guess I have to. So I'm going to end this video here for today. And I'll let everybody know what I find, if I find anything. So, hey guys, until the next one, live the best life you can. Ride often and ride hard.
Ready? Like and subscribe to Dr. Harley.